Hello, we're going to talk about scalars, which is a unique feature in Perl, different than any other languages, because technically the scalars in other languages are known as different type, for example, integers, real, double, real, floating points, non-floating points, strings, where in Perl you have only one type named scalar. So it will distinguish if it's numeric value or it is a string value by the assignment that you make to that variable. So as numbers, you have to remember that always is double precision floating point, any number that you put in Perl. And the numbers are presented the way you presented it in other languages, very simply. For example, number 2 as an integer, 3.5, it knows it's real, minus 5.1, also scientific notation like the E, you can use it either lowercase or uppercase, it doesn't matter to Perl. Also, it presents non-decimal numbers, for example, the octal starting by the 0, the hexa by starting with 0x, lowercase x, and the binary by starting it with 0b and then followed by the numbers 1 or 0. So it takes the regular operations that we know in any math operations, from plus, from multiplication, from the parentheses, the way that you want it. We have to remember that Perl works mainly on strings, so really numerical numbers and mathematical operations is not something very unique to Perl, where the uniqueness is working on text and files in general. So if we want to talk about strings, we can think about the strings as a sequence of characters, any bytes from any length. And so strings literal can be single quoted, so like foo, simple quoted, long string with a space in between. Now if I'm gonna use like this, don't leave home, since I want to use the code as part of the operation, I have to put the backslash. So where even if I'm trying, this one will not be interpreted in single quotation. To be able to have manipulation or to be able to interpolate what is written inside a string, you have to use the double quoted strings. So in this case, hello slash n, we know it's a new line. Cook slash t sprite, it knows this is a tab. We have the slash r, we have any other type of known characters that we use in other languages. So somehow I can think about the double quotation is the best way to represent the strings, so I will avoid really using the single quotation. Let's consider it more quotes, more powerful. Also I would think about the slash, takes away the power of the string, as if clipped onto Supermar. So in this case, whenever there is a slash, it stops the operation and know that this should be interpreted in the way it should be: tab, new line, etc. What kind of operators we can work on strings? We can do concatenation by using the period. So here, Fred concatenated by space, concatenated by Flintstone. If I don't put the space here, those two words will be bumped into each other. Replication, if I say hello x3 will multiply hello 3 times. The same if I say hello x 3.5 will truncate this one to 3, even if it was 3.9 will truncate it to 3 and multiply 3 times. Now if I multiply it by -1, we'll know that this is a 0, so the result will be 0, an empty string. Scalar conversion, it automatically knows when it should use the number as a number and when it can use it as a string. Here 13 plus 4, it does the operation, it sums it up to 17. Now when it sees the period, it knows that it's going to concatenate 17 with monkeys, no space, as a string. So we'll convert it to strings and we'll add it together. Can be used the strings as a number too. Here for example, when it sees this one, it knows that you meant to put a number, not a string, so we'll divide it by 3 and the result will be 4. Here when it sees it, we'll understand that maybe you made a mistake here, so we'll keep doing and working what's supposed to be done. 12 over 3, 4, and we'll ignore the phrase, so we'll give you the number 4. Here, since there is no number, we'll give you a result as 0. Warning, you can add the statement at the beginning of your program, use warnings, to give you some kind of warning about misusing some of the places. For example, you used strings in place that should be numbers, so it gives you this kind of warning. Or you can use it from the beginning with the pass to the Perl to add -w. Also, there is diagnostic, will give you more full report of what you are making a mistake in it. Bring you the paragraph from the help, Perl help, with all the details about what kind of error you did. Now, the scalar variable, how can be assigned? With using the $sign and then followed by any letters, digit, underscore. And it doesn't matter to Perl is it lowercase or uppercase, but it is case sensitive. So this variable or scalar $freight is different than $freight. So those are two different variables. Usually what programmers do in Perl, they use lowercase local, where they use capital in the global, like constants, naming of subroutines, and etc. How can we assign a value? Typically with assignment, with the equal assignment. So for example here, scalar A equal to 3, scalar B equal to 3 plus 2, 5, B equal to 5 multiplied by 4, 20, and this is exactly equivalent to the any type of combinations of the operators. So it's here what we will do, we'll add the original value of B, will multiply it by 4, which is 5 by 4, and we'll add the result into B. So this is the explanation of this assignment. The simple output, so the print text a comma separated list of the value. So here for example I have the scalar x, which is equal to says 7. I am printing hello, the answer is, comma, the value of x, which is 7, and then I am saying a new line. I don't really have to do all this. I can put it all together, and Perl smart to know that this is a string and a printed, then we'll bring the value of x, which is 7, and this is a new line, and that's it. So it can interpolate what is inside the print statement. What kind of comparison operators we can do? Since Perl doesn't distinguish between numbers and strings, we have different sets for the numbers and for strings. The typical one, which is equal, which is double equal, because we already used the equal for the assignment, not equal, less than, bigger than, less than and equal, bigger and equal. For the string, equal, not equal, less than, greater than, less than and equal, greater than and equal. And you need to distinguish. When it sees it, it knows it. So for example here it knows those are strings, so you use the strings, so you use the little. Or here less than 12 is it, so here the result is the string 1, 2, less than 3. Since this is starting with 1, this is starting with 3, this is less than this, so the answer yes, true. Or this one, it knows we am going to use numeric values, so we'll ignore those quotation and we'll know that 12 less than 3, no, so the answer is false. So it used symbols with numbers, words with words. Remember that, symbols with numbers and words with words. Common mistake to do the following. I am saying, is this scalar equal to foo? This is wrong statement, because this is a number and this is a string. Simple if I would like to test the logic here, the Boolean logic, so I can use the if statement. If scalar is bigger than 3, please print for me this value. Yes, it is greater than 3. Otherwise, will print for me it's less than or equal to 3. So if x has a value 1, we'll print the else. If it has a value 4 and up, we'll print the first statement. Else is optional. You have to remember also in the if statement we have this block. Always we have to put those curly brackets. So this is one block and this is the second block. And this is to distinguish the dangling else problem we see, that always says that the last else, the else that will be stuck to the last if in the statement. So here we don't have this problem since we have this curly bracket. Again, if I want to know really what the value of true and false in Perl, it's different than the other languages. We don't have true or false or 0, 1. It just knows how to do the Boolean, but you don't get a hold on the value of false or true. So here, for example, if I create a scalar is bigger and put this operation x bigger than 3. So if it is big, we'll have a value true. Now, if it's true, do the following. So what is true and false? We have a for value if it's false, if the value of is bigger is 0, if it's empty string, if it equal exactly to the string that hold the value 0, or it's undefined. We're going to talk about it later. So those are the value that always will hold the value false. Anything else will be true. That means if is bigger is 0.7, 0.9 will have the value true. So you cannot count on the specific value of true, but forget about it, it's gonna work. So the opposite, if you want to test the opposite logic, not true. So if it's not true, do the following. So this is the way that you're gonna use it. How can we input value from the keyboard? We can use the following statement. From the standard input, enter the value. This is a way, all of it uppercase, start with a sign, less than, end with a greater than, with a semicolon, and you are saying bring the value from the keyboard to the scalar x, and by using another enter you can enter a new value. And this is a problem that's gonna add a new line at the end. So to remove the new line you have to use a function shump x. So in this way you can also combine those two together, shump x from the value that you input. So we'll input whatever you entered from the keyboard, string or number, then we'll take off the new line at the end. And you have to remember that those parentheses are needed because this is a function. Simple loop, we can use a while loop. So here I initialize the count value 0, and we'll see that that doesn't need it in Perl. Perl always will give any scalar a value of 0 if it's number and empty string if it's string. So you don't have to initialize, and this is safe things to do in Perl. So you can rely on it completely and will not throw an error if you do that. So in this case I'm saying is it less than 10? It is. I am adding 2 counts will become 2. I am printing, so I'm going to print 2, and the loop will go up again. Is 2 less than 10? It is. Add another 2, become 4. I print 4. Go up to the loop. Is 4 less than 10? It is. Add another 2, 6. We'll print 6. Go to the loop. 6 is less than 10. It is. Add another 2. 8. Print 8. Is 8 is less than 10? It is. Add 2. 10. Print 10. Go to the up. Is 10 less than 10? No. So we'll stop the loop at the end of the curly bracket and we'll throw out. We'll continue working with the less code if I have an extra code. That's the whole logic. As I said, you can execute it 0 time also. How this can be, if from the beginning I put the count equal 10, for example, if 10 less than 10, no, automatically will not go into the loop at all. Undefined, I said we're going to mention the undefined. So undefined, it is the initial value for anything. So that's the concept. So 0 for the numerical values and empty string for the strings. So here, for example, n equal 1 and is 1 less than 10? It is. Here I am adding the value of the sum, the previous value, which is I don't have. That's mean undefined. This is a numeric operation, so this is 0. So 0 plus 1, 1, put the 1 inside sum. Then add 2 to the number to n, which is equal to 3. Go up. Is 3 less than 10? It is less than 10. I'm saying 3 plus 1, which is 4. Then I will have 3 plus 2, 5, and go up. Is 5 less than 10? It is less than 10. So 4 plus 5 equal 9. Add 2 to the 5, 7, and go up. Is 7 less than 10? It is less. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add 7 to 9 will equal 16. Now n plus 2 will be 9. Go up. 9 less than 10? It is. So 9 plus 16, 25. Add 2 became n 11. Is 11 less than 10? No, it is not. So we'll go out, and here if I want to print the total of the sum will be 25. Okay, if I added the print over here, I will have all the intermediate values from the beginning to the end, like 1, 4, 9, and then 9, then 16, then 25. That's it. Detecting undefined. There is a function that I can use to know if really the value is undefined, like it has a value undefined. So for example, here what I'm gonna do, I am defining a scalar. I'm getting the input from the input file. If it's defined, what we'll do, got a line, and we'll get a line, I will print the line. Otherwise, print it is end of the file. So we'll continue printing whatever I am printing until I close the file. When I close the file, it's undefined the line anymore. So we'll print out it is end of file. And in Windows, the end of you close a file by using Control Z. In Unix and Mac, Control D. And that's it for the scalar. And we'll see you after this presentation with list and arrays.